In September 2025, the Trump administration ordered the deployment of 10 F-35 Lightning II stealth fighter jets to Puerto Rico, marking an unprecedented escalation in U.S. counter-narcotics operations in the Caribbean. The decision to use America's most advanced and expensive fighter aircraft, designed primarily for high-intensity conflicts against near-peer adversaries like China and Russia, against drug smuggling vessels, has sparked significant debate among military experts, legal scholars, and policymakers about its strategic rationale, cost-effectiveness, and broader geopolitical implications. The strategic rationale – more than meets the eye. According to reliable military sources, the F-35's deployment serves multiple purposes that extend far beyond simply intercepting drug smugglers. While the Trump administration has publicly framed the operation as targeting narco-terrorist organizations operating in the southern Caribbean, particularly vessels linked to Venezuela in the Tren de Aragua gang, military analysts suggest the aircraft's true value lies in its sophisticated intelligence-gathering capabilities rather than its strike power. As noted by defense publication The Aviationist, the fifth-generation platform combines advanced strike capability with extremely capable sensors and data fusion systems that make it a powerful, non-traditional intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance or ISR asset. The F-35's AESA radar and electro-optical suites can collect and fuse information that's distributed across command networks, enhancing maritime and overland situational awareness in complex environments. This makes the aircraft not only a deterrent through presence, but also a force enabler that enhances situational awareness and operational decision-making in contested environments. The broader military buildup. The F-35 deployment is part of a massive U.S. military presence in the Caribbean, representing one of the largest American deployments to the region in decades. By early 2025, the U.S. had positioned at least 8 to 10 warships in the Southern Caribbean. These vessels carry approximately 4,500 sailors and Marines from the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, or CSIS, the number of Navy ships assigned to the U.S. Fourth Fleet, the naval component of the U.S. Southern Command, more than doubled between February and August 2025, with total tonnage soaring from 20,000 tons in February to almost 140,000 tons by August. This represents approximately 14% of the U.S. Navy deployed worldwide. The overkill question. Military aviation expert Richard Abulafia, managing director of Aerodynamic Advisory, characterized the F-35 deployment as an expensive form of overkill, noting that the F-35 is most useful when there are sophisticated enemy ground-based air defenses and aircraft to evade. Drug cartels, by contrast, possess relatively low technology defenses when compared with potential adversaries such as China and Russia. The cost concerns are significant. The F-35 program has an estimated lifetime cost exceeding $2 trillion, making it one of the most expensive weapons programs in U.S. history. Each aircraft costs over $80 million to procure, and the Pentagon has reduced the estimated lifetime cost per F-35 by buying more jets and decreasing the expected flight hours each year. Furthermore, the munitions being used are expensive. Hellfire air-to-ground missiles, which some reports suggest may have been used in strikes on suspected drug vessels, cost around $100,000 each. By October 1, 2025, Southcom posted a video showing F-35Bs from VMFA-225 in Puerto Rico being loaded with live 500-pound JDAMs, or Joint Direct Attack Munitions, and AMRAAM air-to-air missiles. Traditional drug interdiction methods. Historically, maritime drug interdiction has been the responsibility of the U.S. Coast Guard, which is trained, equipped, and has legal authority to conduct law enforcement operations. While a branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, the Coast Guard is part of the Department of Homeland Security. The U.S. military has long assisted in drug interdiction, particularly the Navy, which provides surveillance and assists in boarding operations. However, actual police functions, such as arresting suspects, have been performed by Coast Guard law enforcement detachments, or LEDETs, stationed on Navy vessels since the 1980s. When the Coast Guard uses force in drug interdiction missions, it typically targets a vessel's propulsion with machine guns or sniper rifles to disable it, not to destroy the ship while the crew is still on board. The Coast Guard's approach allows them to capture and interrogate cartel members, collect evidence, and prepare case packages for criminal prosecution by the Department of Justice. Additionally, Coast Guard cutters are significantly cheaper to operate than Navy destroyers, which have systems and capabilities designed for great power conflict that are largely unnecessary for counter-drug operations. CSIS noted that Coast Guard cutters are not only better suited for counter-narcotics missions, but are also much more cost-effective than deploying advanced naval destroyers and stealth fighters to the Caribbean. The Coast Guard received a $25 billion budget boost in Trump's budget proposal, which includes 21 new cutters and more than 40 helicopters. However, CSIS argues that the service will need even more resources to handle increased counter-drug operations. The deployment of fighter jets for counter-narcotics operations is not entirely unprecedented. During the 1990s and early 2000s, the U.S. Air Force and Air National Guard conducted Operation Coronet Nighthawk, employing F-15 and F-16 fighter aircraft to patrol the skies of Central America and the Caribbean in search of suspected drug-running aircraft. Conclusion: the deployment of F-35 stealth fighters to Puerto Rico for anti-cartel missions represents an extraordinary escalation in U.S. counter-narcotic strategy, one that blends advanced military technology, intelligence gathering, geopolitical signaling, and controversial lethal force. While the Trump administration frames the operation as necessary to combat drug trafficking threatening American lives, the underlying objectives appear more complex, ranging from pressuring the Maduro regime in Venezuela to demonstrating U.S. military resolve in the hemisphere. However, the mission raises profound questions about the appropriate use of military force, the allocation of limited defense resources, and the legal framework governing operations that blur the line between law enforcement and warfare. As the operation continues to evolve with the establishment of a formal joint task force and the potential for further escalation, the F-35 deployment in the Caribbean will likely remain a focal point of debate over American military strategy, counter-narcotics policy, and the future of U.S.-Latin American relations.